Hey everyone, it's Stephanie with the Patient Story. Now, as a cancer patient myself, I want to know what's going on, the big trends in terms of cancer treatment and cancer research. So, today for you, I wanted to share some key pieces of information I learned at a recent meeting where top minds in cancer, in oncology, gather every year to share progress being made. It's called ASCO. All right, so I'm at the biggest sort of cancer conference of the year in the United States in Chicago, and you can just see how massive everything is. I don't even know if you can hear me. Um, Here as a patient advocate, because honestly, we're the ones who are impacted the most, right? So, here to represent our voice. I was so lucky to go this year for the first time, and I met so many people from doctors to nonprofits to other patient advocates, and the spirit was amazing there. The most important message, though, for you to know is that there was one of great hope for cancer patients and care partners everywhere. So, here in this video are some of those top takeaways for you out there, straight from some of our country's top cancer specialists. And it starts with precision or personalized medicine.
So I think patients should know the theme of this meeting, which is like the Super Bowl for oncology. There's 35,000 people here talking about cancer, but more importantly, talking about progress. I think the biggest theme has been personalized medicine. That's a phrase that sometimes is used almost to the point of overuse, but I think it authentically means individualizing treatment. So first of all, defining a cancer as specifically as possible. So for instance, rather than saying colon cancer, what side of the colon did it start on? That matters. And then what molecular or genetic characteristics does the cancer have that can refine the patient's treatment? And actually, a lot of the meeting has been about doing less, not more. And what I mean by less is de-intensifying treatment, which means fewer side effects, but arguably no decrease in outcome, meaning that the cancer-related outcomes like survival don't get worse, and the patient was spared side effects. The most unbelievable study happened. In fact, it was so important it got coverage in the New York Times. So patients with a relatively advanced but not yet metastatic rectal cancer had a vulnerability to immunotherapy. And with just immunotherapy, patients had a complete response to the cancer. So not only did they not need surgery, they didn't need chemo, they didn't need radiation. And it was such a big deal. It actually got covered in the New York Times in addition to getting, of course, a lot of publicity here at this meeting. So those are the kind of things that are happening, and you can see the spillover into popular media and popular culture when something of that magnitude happens. Because traditionally we've thought, every patient with a cancer like that would require chemo and would require radiation and a big operation. And now it turns out, again, it's exceptional, that a certain group of patients can only get immunotherapy, which is amazing. We do walk this tightrope of hope and hype, where I don't think it's hype because I think the science is there. I think that the difficulty is in overpromising logistically, which I think what you're getting at. So it's okay for patients to ask their oncologists about the progress that they've heard about here, but I do think there has to be a little bit of realization that it will take a little bit of time to implement. Now, having said that, the really groundbreaking changes will almost immediately change the guidelines by which doctors and, let's be honest, insurance companies decide how to arbitrate care. And so that part you actually should not have to wait very long. And the FDA, believe me, monitors a lot of this activity and is pretty quick these days to approve new drugs and new indications when they see evidence of it. To be honest with you, oncology has this not proud history of indiscriminate toxicity. Like quite famously, people know that people on chemo tend to be very sick. They tend to lose their hair. They can have permanent nerve damage. So we really are trying to be more targeted in the treatments we give. And so less really is more. And it's interesting. Actually, I had a patient reach out to me and say, don't say less because patients don't want to feel like they're being treated to a lesser degree. I said, well, there's a difference there. It is quantitatively less. It is not qualitatively lesser. So we're not actually treating you in an inferior manner. I would actually argue that we're having it both ways. We're having a equal outcome in regard to your cancer while we're preserving you and your quality of life. And I think what's so exciting is everyone here we're all pulling in the same direction. We're all trying to make things better for patients. And regardless of what specific cancer you might be interested in, there is research being done, and we are slowly but surely, in some cases very quickly, moving in the right direction.
Well, I think for MPN patients, I think there should really be a tremendous sense of hope. There are many new therapies in development, some that are really having some very positive results. So I'm at this meeting, and as you had pointed out, I've got this 20-year member badge here, and I've been a member here for about 25 years. But I saw my first MPN patient now almost 30 years ago. Now, the first 15 of those 30 years, we did not understand the diseases to a great degree. This is before we had discovered the JAK2 mutation and many other associated mutations that are very important in the biology of why MPNs develop, why patients are afflicted. And during that time, it was very hard to develop treatments that were effective against the disease because we didn't know that much about them. But in the last 15 years, have really been unprecedented. We now have several approved drugs for MPNs, 3 in myelofibrosis, ruxolitinib, fedratinib, and pacritinib, the recent approval of ropegulated interferon alpha 2b, or Besremi, for individuals with polycythemia vera, and an unprecedented number of new medicines that are in development that may have implications whether you have MF or PV or ET. It's really a tremendous time to be hopeful. A meeting like this, there's a lot of innovation in terms of how we care for patients. If we're using telemedicine, how do we do that best? How do we help to care for everyone in society? How do we help to improve diagnostics? How do we help better monitor patients in a way that's more convenient, whether it's through their device or their cell phone or other things? Second, real innovations in different ways that we're treating cancer that have started more in other types of cancer, particularly around the treatment of the immune system, with either ways that are vaccines against cancer or even treatments that we call cellular treatments that again use the body's immune system. There are things that are called CAR-T or CAR-NK. These are diseases or treatments where these cells are programmed to go after the disease itself. Now, they have not yet started in MPNs, but we're learning a lot about them from other diseases and then really hoping to apply those things in the future. So I think, again, the treatments that we're going to have are going to continue to evolve, but we learn from other blood diseases. We learn from the diseases that are cousins of MPNs, diseases like myelodysplastic syndrome or even acute leukemia. But sometimes we learn even from diseases as different as lung cancer or breast cancer, and they learn from us. So I just came from a meeting with a colleague where, again, she is looking at using a medicine we use in MPNs, ruxolitinib, but combined with a different type of medicine to treat patients with advanced lung cancer. Because the combination with an inhibitor against a protein called AXL may have a benefit against treating lung cancer. So we learn from them, but they learn from us.
But there's always something good that I see here for CLL at ASCO. This year, I think the theme is kind of like follow-up on larger studies. And I was really excited to present some work that we did. So we have a study at Ohio State that's a combination of obinutuzumab, ibrutinib, and venetoclax for people with CLL given for just a little over a year. So we've now looked out to 4 years with the first 50 people treated with this regimen in our phase 2 study. And the big question is how long do people stay in remission after only 1 year of treatment? And it looks like really people are staying in remission. So for people that took this as a first treatment, It looked like 96% of them were alive and without leukemia returning at this follow-up. And for people who took it after another treatment, 85% were alive and without their leukemia recurring. So that's really outstanding for something where you get treated for 1 year and you can remain in remission. And that is kind of the theme we're seeing in CLL now, because we did these really great studies to combine non-chemotherapy drugs to get really deep remissions for our patients. And then they could be off treatment, back in observation, living their lives, and not have to deal with taking treatments every day or chronic side effects. And there's a study called Captivate, which had a group of people with CLL, 159 of them actually, treated with just ibrutinib and venetoclax for a little more than a year. And they were seeing similar results to our 3-drug regimen, where at extended follow-up, they're like 3 years, 88% of those folks are alive and without their leukemia returning. And 88% might not sound awesome, but this is really awesome when you're considering people aren't taking treatment. This is really just kind of a theme we're seeing, where we're seeing really kind of longer remissions off treatment for patients. And it's so exciting to think that with, it might not seem brief for a year, but that's brief considering the alternatives taking BTK inhibitors every day. People can just remain healthy and in remission.
So there you have it. Some of the top takeaways that bring hope for us and just how much is being developed out there. And on an important note, I really do encourage you to learn more about clinical trials, the research that's being done. They may not be right for you, but there's so much to learn about them because there's so many misconceptions about them. And one way of thinking about clinical trials is that it is tomorrow's treatment today. And so I encourage you to go to our website, thepatientstory.com. You can check out stories there with people who talk extensively about their clinical trial experience and how it went for them. Also, don't forget to register for the Patient Story community. We are standing up and launching a new program that allows you as a member of our community to ask questions to other patients in our community. And so just head to that link in the comments below. And again, register for our community, and I hope to see you there. Now, don't forget, cancer is part of our story now, but it doesn't define it. Till next time.